Welcome back to my channel. We're going to be watching Clint's Reptiles. Enjoy! Alright, let's take a look. I've never seen Clint's Reptiles. Why am I bald?
Francisco the Gaboon Viper is about to show you what they're most known for. Having
their
the
mouths
longest
are weird.
fangs of any venomous snake on Earth. Up to 2 inches long. Wow.
There is so much to see here. The first thing that we could see really obviously was how the fangs fold. These fangs are so long that if they were fixed like the fangs of most elapid snakes, they would just go right through the bottom jaw or hang out like saber teeth when the jaw was closed. And so they fold down.
I've never seen this guy.
But even more exciting than that, I want to point your attention to these giant holes.
But like the fangs aren't out.
In the roof of the mouth. These really big holes here are not the Jacobson's organ. The Jacobson's organ is actually kind of halfway between those giant holes.
What is that?
And the front lip of the snake, much, much smaller. And the Jacobson's organ is a super cool thing. So that it is extremely chemosensitive. Okay, so it detects chemical signals, and they stick their forked tongue out.
Oh,
the fork is important also. They stick the forked tongue out, and then when they close their mouth, they stick the forked tongue up into the Jacobson's organ, essentially to analyze what has been picked up by the tongue.
I didn't know it was called that.
So the tongue itself is really not the thing doing the majority of this. It doesn't really do the smelling. It picks up particles and sticks them into that Jacobson's organ. And a lot of times when you see an open mouth like this, people will think that that giant hole is the Jacobson's organ. It's actually the little hole. And if you look in the tongue, or in the mouth itself,
so what's the other
you'll notice that the tongue...
The danger hole? Like, what are we doing?
Where is it? And the reason that you can't see it is because it goes into a little pocket.
This is a snake's
in the
mouth.
Bottom jaw underneath this big tube that we'll talk about here in a second on the bottom, which is called the glottis. And so it just kind of slides down into a little protective pocket when not in use inside of the mouth. The glottis is that big tube, and you can see it opens up sometimes. You can see that the glottis can open.
It's like vocal cords.
And what that is that's the far end of the windpipe of the snake. And they can protrude that far forward, so when they're swallowing a big meal, they can still kind of snorkel around it. And so they can breathe even when they've got something large in their mouth. You can see they can open it and close it, so that's a really cool ability. But it has something important to do with these giant holes in the upper jaw. Those giant holes are the back sides of its nostrils.
It's sniffing?
When the mouth is closed, it plugs the glottis in right there, and that's how it can breathe through its nose. If you enjoyed this, be sure to check out the rest of this video where I react to viral animal TikTok.
Why do you know what vocal cords look like? I don't know. Sometimes you just see stuff on the internet. Sky. Snakes are transformers. The breathing thing is kind of cool because I was like, how are they eating? Because it takes them a really long time to eat, right? Like, it's usually something massive and they consume it however long it takes to consume it, and it's just in their body until it digests over how much time. I didn't know how they were still doing the breathing. That's fascinating. I learned something. Kind of depends how big the meal is. I'm thinking like, what? Massive snakes eating like deer. Things that they look like they shouldn't be able to consume. Things that are far bigger than them. Yeah, eating a man-sized meal, sure. Let's take a peek. Let's take a gander. How long is this? Do I want to commit to 26 minutes?
Well, hi there. I'm here today with a Gaboon Viper. I'm also here today with Timmy, whose job it is to keep all of my limbs on my body. And I say that in all seriousness. This is my very favorite snake.
It looks silly. That little horn in front of it looks so silly. He looks so terrified. Yeah, guys like, ooh, I don't want to touch this.
Which puts it up there as being one of, if not my very favorite of all animals. Don't make fun of his Gaboon?
Okay, sorry. I'm so sorry.
Actually, since we've been here at Nerd, I've interacted with several of my favorite animals in the world, and this one's right at the top of that list. It's a really chunky
snake.
I love them. They terrify me. This is
That's a thick boy.
The most incredible and I think impressive looking snake that there is.
Am I wrong?
That heavy body is amazing. The patterns on them. The Dumerril's boa is one that has patterns that kind of remind me of this. They're just unbelievably beautiful. Unbelievably beautiful. And then there's one thing...
He's puffed up?
That makes vipers.
Stance? Oh, you can't see past me. Hello? VTuber in the way. No one said anything. Hello, I'm down here now. For now, maybe. I don't know. We'll see. That's just how they are naturally. He's so puffy. You don't like how he doesn't appear to be moving? Well, you could see him breathe, or I'm assuming so, but I saw movement. My favorite group of snakes, and that is their incredible large triangular heads. They're very, very wide, extremely wide heads, because they've got some massive venom glands in them. There is no snake in the world for its length that has a head even close to as big so and cool. Wide I've never
as
touched
the
a snake.
Viper. It's just
I want to.
Unbelievable. So big, so impressive. It houses some of the most terrifying venom in the world, to me. Because there are a lot of venomous animals out there that are going to give you a really bad day or week. You know, you might spend some time in the hospital. It's going to cost you a fortune. They might even kill you, right? And this is one that absolutely can kill you. But even under the best of circumstances, you're probably going to need to have something amputated. And that is serious venom. That venom is delivered by the longest fangs possessed by any snake in the world. And this is a viper, and that's what allows it to have.
I'm a little okay, I don't know anything about this guy, but I'm a little amused that he is dressed up as much as he is to meet a snake. I think that's a little funny. He's got a tie on, a button up and a tie. He's meeting a snake. That's so cute, so silly. Have such long fangs. Those fangs fold so that they're not straight and erect all the time. And when they open their mouth, they extend those fangs almost out straight, and they can deliver a really devastating bite. This snake is one that will bite and hold on for a while and give you a dose that you definitely don't want. And
the male's talking.
This is just the most impressive and in some ways terrifying snake in the world, and I love them. As you know, we recently covered the king cobra on this channel, which is an unbelievable snake. So intelligent, the longest of all venomous
Sorry, you can't see it behind me.
I think that, though, when we're talking about the coolest snake, this is it, hands down. That's my personal opinion. But I have a really big question. Some people do keep these gaboon vipers as pets. In fact, a lot of people. Sometimes kids will buy them.
These?
And the question is, and you may already be suspicious what the answer might be. The question is the gaboon viper the best pet snake? Nope. No, it isn't. It is not. Not at least.
You're telling me parents buy these for their children, but they're this dangerous? I would never. I would maybe go see one, but I'm not going to bring something like this into my home. Wow. I would never have this in my house. I mean, maybe if you're, an adult and you know exactly how to handle these creatures, but for a child? That's a lot.
If you're opposed to having your limbs amputated. But let's score it anyway, just in case you're not as possessive of your extremities as I am. Which means we'll have to score it based on our 5 categories, which are handleability, care, hardiness, availability, and upfront costs. When it comes to handleability, we give the gaboon viper a score of 1 out of 5, which is really high considering how devastating this snake can be. That's a better score than we gave the king cobra, if you didn't notice. I would still say avoid handling them as much as is humanly possible, which you can see is advice I'm not taking very well today, but I'm also not touching it. I'm trusting Timmy, who is one of the few experts in the world that I would trust to have me this close to a gaboon viper. He knows what he's doing, and he's got the right tools.
So
the reason that they score
this.
better than a king cobra is because they aren't as fast when it comes to moving their whole body. Now, I will tell you, this snake has probably the fastest of all snake strikes. So when it comes time to deliver, it can deliver in a hurry, but it's not going to close the ground on you in the way that a king cobra can. It's also not nearly as long, right? It's really difficult to manipulate a king cobra, even using a snake hook or tongs, in a way that it can't double back on you because it is more than twice as long as your snake hook. This snake can be safely moved using proper tools. In fact, you know, this snake is not any harder to move around than a blood python. You're gonna see in a lot of ways, I'm gonna compare this to a blood python. This is the crazy man's blood python. Absolutely. The biggest thing about these guys is that you see how he's sitting right now and he's not moving? That's what they do. And they can do that literally for weeks at a time. Just hold perfectly still and wait for something to get too close, and then it's time for food.
Like your hand?
And so when you have a gaboon viper, most of the time what you're gonna see it doing is this. And it is gonna seem like I can do anything I want to with this snake. In fact, you can scoop it up with a hook and grab the back third of the snake with your hand, and you're gonna be, hey, this snake is never gonna do anything. This snake is just laid back. It might hiss at me a little bit, but my blood python does that. Heck, my hognose snake does that. And it can lull you into a false sense of security. However, you know, once you make a mistake, once you get too confident with it, too comfortable with it, and you put yourself within strike range, it can hit you so hard and so fast there will be absolutely nothing you can do about it, and it will grab on, it will hold on tight, it will inject you with a pile of venom. When you show up at the hospital, you're gonna be like, I've been bitten by a gaboon viper, and they're like, is that a monkey? What are you talking about? Like, I don't even know what a gaboon viper is, right? Your local vet might not know.
I couldn't do this. I know people like to keep reptiles, keep snakes in their home, but they're animals that don't interact like, say, a cat or a dog, right? And they're really great to probably study, to look at, to just have. But something that's dangerous? I couldn't have this at home. I couldn't have this. It's a beautiful creature, but I think it belongs outside, doing outside things, like basking in the sun or wherever it wants to sit. This doesn't need to be in your home. Get a Tengu if you want a pet reptile you can cuddle. Can I have you at home? Welcome back, Merly. You would need it devenomed? Is that a thing you can do? And is that bad for the snake? I know nothing about snakes. You cannot devenom a snake. Okay, yeah, don't get a snake. Yes, but no. Tegu? I've heard of Tegu, but there's a lizard that allows cuddling. Yeah, I would take a non-venomous snake, maybe. But something that is venomous? No, not in my house. Snakes are cute only when they're small to you. Is he not cute anymore? I think this snake's very cute. Not a Tengu, a Tegu.
Know what a gaboon viper is, let alone your doctor, right? They don't know what a gaboon viper is.
Smuggling?
And you're gonna be like, I need antivenom for a gaboon viper, and they're gonna be like, I don't know what that is. And even if they had antivenom, they still might cut off whatever got bitten. All right, so gear up, right? It's a bad,
I don't want that either.
Bad day, real bad day. You'll never be the same, right? This snake is going to begin destroying tissue so quickly, and they're gonna have to act very, very quickly just to save your life. Your arm, that's gone. That was gone the moment those fangs got embedded in you.
You go to the hospital for this bite, and then you have to come home after your amputation to just come back and take care of him. Like, yep, it's okay, buddy. I guess it's time to resume what we were up to. No.
And they can just lull you into a false sense of security. But as I said, they're actually, for a venomous snake, easy to move, and in some ways that makes them more dangerous. Just don't ever get too close. I'd like to say a special thanks to our patrons at Patreon who made it possible for us to come here and visit Nerd, and also whose contributions would pay for my prosthesis should I get bitten by this snake at any point during this video. Thank you. When it comes to
thanks
care,
for the patrons.
we give the Gaboon Viper a score
arm.
of 3 out of 5, which, you know, is largely due to the fact that this snake is not any harder to keep, really, than is a blood python. They need temperatures that are a little bit cooler than a lot of snakes. You need to be careful about hydration with these guys, which actually is a good reason to soak them, which makes it so you might need to move them more often, which I've already told you you should try to avoid. This is kind of a problem, right? This is kind of a problem that hydration can be an issue for these guys because it's going to put you in a little more danger. Generally speaking, what I would recommend that's very different than what I would recommend for a blood python is have an enclosure with a divider in it so that you can put a divider in before you open the enclosure that allows you to have the snake on one side and you can mess around on the other side. And then when you catch the snake on the other side 3 weeks later when it decides to move, you put the divider back in, you clean the other side where it's been. That is the biggest difference. Other than that, it's fairly typical snake stuff. They need...
It feels like he's here at gunpoint. He wants to be here. He's very happy about reptiles and snakes. He's just, rightfully very afraid of what the snake can do. Cause, yeah, he could lose an arm today. I'm assuming he doesn't, right?
Substrate.
Right?
They need an enclosure that is escape-proof. Now, this snake of snakes
That'd
is
be a crazy
not
update to see.
a great escape artist because it's so thick, right? This is a wide snake. It's got a big head. Unlike the king cobra, you know, this isn't going to get out of just anything, but it is a snake, and snakes are great at getting out of things. So you've got to have a great lid. It is a very strong snake. So, you know, any kind of lid that isn't like a sliding lid, it's probably going to be able to push its way out.
I consider it like you're interviewing your Oshi, and your Oshi could at any moment cave your skull in. That's crazy. And keep you alive as she tears the skin off. Why do I feel like at least one of you guys would be like, yes? How do I sign up?
And so, don't do that. This snake is not the kind of snake you want crawling into bed with you, right? It's nice and warm in there, delightful.
Do you want any snake crawling in your
love
bed?
to be, right? But you wouldn't like that. So don't make that a possibility. I'd recommend something with no lid at all, and sliding front doors that you can secure with cabinet locks, and just never get lazy about that. You know, they're going to need heat, not as much as a lot of snakes, but, you know, keep that controlled with a thermostat. You know, hides, though most of the time this snake is going to hide in plain sight. And some leaf litter, right? If you want to have no idea where this snake is at any time, put some leaf litter in there. That's where they come from. That snake will become invisible, and you will get to show people, look at how amazing this snake is. However, if that's why you want one of these, I wouldn't. This snake...
I wouldn't. I wouldn't. And you're right, Shinji. I would never cave anyone's or crush anyone's skull in. I would not. You are safe. You are absolutely safe. I would never. Unless you try to harm me, then I'm going for your eyeballs, just so you know. Just so you know. But that's neither here nor there. Don't worry about it.
It also has a fairly slow metabolism. Like I said, they don't move. And so very much like blood pythons, again, you're going to not feed them all that often, or they're going to have a real problem with becoming obese. So keep meals not nearly as big as this snake could possibly swallow, because it's huge, right? It has an enormous head, super wide body. I mean, this snake,
he's talking a lot of trash
a decent-sized
about
Gaboon Viper can take down an adult rabbit, right? But that's not a good meal for a Gaboon Viper. That's how you end up with a short-lived, giant, obese Gaboon Viper. If you want a healthy Gaboon Viper, like the ones they have here at Nerd, you're going to want to keep those meals smaller and fairly infrequent. And when you're feeding it, use the longest tongs you can find, because this snake will be doing nothing. And then when it strikes at prey, it is going to cover a huge amount of distance so fast there's nothing you can do about it. So make sure you're well outside of that strike range, and it's farther than you think. When it comes to hardiness, we give the Gaboon Viper a score of 3 out of 5. These guys are pretty darn solid. You know, a lot of snakes are pretty solid. These guys are going to be a little more temperamental. Care is going to be a little more important with these guys. You could lose one more easily than some other snakes. But, you know, as long as you're giving them appropriate care, they should do really well for you. Just make sure that they don't become dehydrated or overheat. Also, extreme obesity, as we said before, that can lead to a premature death. These guys,
silly guys are.
They do pretty well.
Let's see you do something.
But they can be a little bit more temperamental than other snakes.
Anything.
When it comes to availability, we give the Gaboon Viper a score of 2 out of 5. The reality is, though, I mean, these are actually fairly easy to get.
Solid snake.
They're not quite as available as rattlesnakes, but there are a lot of people that breed them, and really not that many people that are right for them. So there's usually quite a few available. If you look online, you can find a gaboon viper. Most expos that sell venomous reptiles, they're going to have gaboon vipers. And that's madness, if you ask me, because of all the venomous snakes that you can get, I would say mambas are a worse idea, and cobras are a worse idea, and then this. This is the one. This is a serious snake.
What's the most dangerous snake?
Very few people. I've heard tell that sometimes you'll see kids walk away at expos with a gaboon viper.
That's crazy to me.
That's
Children?
Madness, right? That is
Mambas?
madness.
Okay, most dangerous.
Why not just give them a revolver? When I say that they're fairly available, one of the things about them is
it's so dangerous. Why get this? Just give them a revolver. Oh, okay. Maybe we just shouldn't do this. This feels like a skit. It's the fear in his eyes that make it feel like a skit. But this is very educational.
They produce a bucket load of babies, which is unsurprising because their body is huge, right? So they can hold a ton of them. So, if you just have one person breeding one female gaboon viper, she might drop 50 or more babies all at once.
50?
And then you've got to find 50 or more responsible homes for gaboon vipers.
I thought Kaiser said 10.
Good luck, right? And that might explain why sometimes you'll hear stories about kids walking away at expos with a gaboon viper. Because if you've got somebody who's got 100 gaboon vipers, right, they might get a lot less discriminating about to whom they should sell a gaboon viper. Unless you are seriously prepared for a gaboon viper, no matter how inexpensive it is, no matter how available it is, no matter how stinking rad it is, because you're not going to find a cooler snake. Make a wise choice here, because this can be a really bad decision. Better than getting a tiger. Just FYI. When it comes to upfront costs, we give the gaboon viper a score of 3 out of 5.
I like that this guy's funny.
The reality
He's got
here
some
is the
humor in there.
snake, because of supply and demand, could potentially not be very expensive at all, which is crazy. If you need permits, the permitting can cost you quite a bit more, and I'm not really factoring that into this score. The enclosure that you
need a permit to have a snake? Or is it because it's a venomous snake? Poisonous? Venomous? Whichever word. Is that why? Some snakes. You need... You make a skit out of this? Go for it. Why not? Venomous, that's the word. So it's because it's venomous you need a license? Some places it's flat out illegal. You can be so irresponsible with these. Imagine you got a pair and suddenly you've got, I don't know how often they produce babies, but like 50 each time or more, and you're just releasing them? Yeah, that could be a huge problem.
Need should be a good one, and because these snakes can get so large,
really, Doc?
Should be fairly good size. And like I said, I'd recommend one that has a divider that you can insert from the outside without accessing the snake. Make sure you can lock down this enclosure so it doesn't get out. But all of the enclosure stuff, because these snakes are so inactive most of the time, it doesn't need to be huge. And so it's actually fairly affordable to get the entire setup that you would need. Just need heat tape, thermostat, water bowl, substrate, hide. Fairly normal snake stuff. Just make sure that it is escape proof. And then, like I said, the snake is not that expensive, which I think is a problem. And so overall, we give the gaboon viper a score of 2.4 out of 5, which is a really high score considering what a horrible pet I think this is for almost everybody. Right? This should show you, once again, really bad, kind of like with the rattlesnake, that, what really matters here isn't the overall score. That isn't the score to help you determine, because it got a high score, it's for me. You need to go through each category and say, can I do this? Right? Am I ready for this? Is this really what I want? Because this is a long-term commitment.
You
gotta look into the fact that, like, for the next 20 years,
20?
You're going to be responsible for a gaboon viper. And you're going to have to be interacting with it on some level several times a week, right? And sometime I'm going to have members of my family and people who aren't as competent as I am with a gaboon viper.
Wow.
Do I feel confident and comfortable having that animal in my home? Do I feel confident and comfortable interacting with that animal? Am I prepared to accept the consequences should the worst happen? If the answer is no, this snake isn't for you. It straight up is not for you. Don't get one, right? This is one of the worst ideas that you could possibly have if you're just thinking, I want a snake. Even if you're just like, I want a wicked cool snake, right? A rattlesnake is a much better idea. A bad idea, but a much better idea, because you show up at the hospital with a rattlesnake bite, they're going to get you taken care of. It's just going to cost you $100,000. This one will cost you $100,000 an arm, and you still might die, right? You still reasonably might die. This is a really, really serious snake. I can't emphasize that enough. It's not for everyone. It's not for very many people. There's too much risk at all. So be smart about this, and maybe just enjoy them at zoos, here at Nerd, because when I see this snake, it gives me chills up and down, but I don't want one. However, I should give you a chance to hear from somebody who does, and so I'm going to turn over the time to Kevin, who keeps these snakes, who I think is one of the few people that is the right sort of person to own a Gaboon Viper.
This is a Gaboon Viper.
This guy probably owns several of them. Why would you want a crocodile? I also can't be trusted with any dangerous animals. I wouldn't know what to do. You can't go on vacation. You can't. I mean, that's like the least of your worries, right? You have to always, I guess, check in on it. You have to be on time all the time. Like, it's a lot. That's a Florida man, potentially. I don't know where Clint's at. You would lose it. See, you can't lose this snake. That's so irresponsible. But they don't move a lot. We learned that they don't move a lot. They don't do a lot. So he probably won't get too far. But you're super in danger if he somehow gets you on your foot, ankle, hands, arms, wherever. You're going to lose that limb. It's over for you. Okay, check out the snake. It's in fake room with broken enclosure. Oh, yep, that snake's loose. To be fair, crocodilians, your beloved, you would love to keep one, but they live so long, and depending on the animal, they can rip your hand off. Yeah, no crocodiles in the house either. Are there pygmy ones? Can you have like a itty bitty one? Is that possible? Maybe not. Let me not entertain this idea. I could never do it. I don't recommend doing it. Don't get anything that can take your body parts off or cause you to have something amputated. Not worth it. You want a house hippo? Like a little mudang? Like, what are we talking about? Did mudang get big yet? Dwarf caimans get like 6 feet long, basically dog size. I'm gonna tell you right now, I don't want a 6-foot dog, and I don't think that's dog-like. I think that's actually really big. I don't know what you're talking about over there. They live 50 years? You're not guaranteed time, right? But like 50 years is a commitment. And I would say most people are probably in like their late teens, early 20s, maybe deciding on a pet that's long-term like that. You can't guarantee you'll be there 70-something years for it. That's crazy. House hippos were a commercial that got popular, worth a watch on stream. Okay. It would outlive you if you get one now? Yeah, don't get anything like that. Crocodilians live ages. As long as they keep eating, they'll keep growing functional immortality. What's the biggest crocodile to exist? A 6-foot river puppy. Yeah, it can stay in the river. It's not coming in my house.
Gabunicus. This is a fantastic animal if you are experienced at keeping things like this. An incredibly hot animal.
I just realized how close this guy is to the snake.
Are as exotic as you can get for a lot of the different terrestrial vipers. So this is a land-based viper, has a heavy body mass. It comes from Africa, and it's tropical. So it's going to live in these forests where they blend in with the leaf litter. So they have very cryptic camouflage, and they're largely an ambush hunter, which basically means that they crawl around the forest floor until they find a rodent trail or some kind of evidence that there's an activity of rodent. And they set up shop, and they'll basically, a lot of these rodents, let's say if we have a rat colony, a rat warren, the rats will go back and forth. They'll come along, they find one of these paths, and they set themselves up, and then they just are lost in the dead foliage, and they just sit, and they'll sit motionless, sometimes for days. This is also very similar to Reptiles horridus, which is a timber rattlesnake, which, these animals are ambush hunters, not active.
By the handler, you mean this guy talking? Or do you mean the guy with his hand on his hip? I feel like they're both the handlers. I don't like this guy's hand going back and forth, right? Like, that seems like a motion that would activate the snake, and the snake's like, well, I'm a little bit hungry. Let me go take a bite. The guy with the tool? I mean, I guess he does every day. He's confident. I'm not. Casper, happy 3-stream streak. Yippee! Guy with the tool looks super chill, but now he looks like he's on duty. Yeah, because this guy's swinging his hands back and forth, and he's really close to the snake. He's super close. This is too close. This snake's head is right here. If I had a red circle, I'd put it there. Yeah, that's very close. I also don't know how fast it strikes. The snake knows he's not food. But what about a wandering hand? A hand going back and forth really quickly. Wouldn't that feel more like food? Sure, not his whole body, but the fingies? Why are you pointing to the... Oh, that's a whole emo. I need to get me a red circle so I can slide it around.
Foragers, they'll move around until they find something that interests them, and then they just go quiet. So they're very good at conserving their energy. This animal has serious venom. This venom is just melt you and ruin your life. They have massive fangs. These have some of the largest fangs on record. Little things that are misleading about this animal. This animal can appear very, very calm, and they're very sedentary.
Is that why cobras are worse?
This is when we
they can see the motion?
Get an incorrect idea of the animal and its nature. And as tractable as they can be, they have an incredibly fast strike. And the strike is faster than a human reaction. And the venom that can be delivered is horrific. Just cause massive damage. So this is nothing to be trifled with or disregarded. And this is a beautiful male. We basically hide it. We're just gonna enjoy him. And this is an animal I would never want to really grab behind the head. So if I were to grab behind the head, this animal very quickly will start doing a psychotic set of motions where they actually try to stab whatever's restraining it, because that's, once again, it's a defensive type situation where the animal feels like it's being predated.
No growth for a reason. Yep.
That's not a good thing. So, and what they do is, once you grab them behind the head, they're going to start throwing their body all around, and they're going to potentially damage their spine. So even though this animal is to be absolutely respected, you have to also realize that an animal like this, heavy body with this quick movement, can also damage its spine, because animals are all spine. So they're incredibly fragile. So if we were to drop this animal and mistreat it, I could injure the spine. I could do something that basically caused partial paralysis or absolute paralysis
that's
and
not
ruin
good.
this animal's life. But the care of these is they're straightforward. You have to be very aware of their water intake. These animals can easily get dehydrated. They don't necessarily view a water dish as a vessel to drink. So an animal like this might be a good idea when you're feeding defrosted rodents, is to blast that rodent, which basically inject that rodent with a whole bunch of water. And then when the animal eats, that animal's getting the luxury of being super hydrated in the meal. Because every time an animal metabolizes food, so it's digesting its food.
Pause for a second. Although I didn't know you had to forcibly hydrate these creatures. I didn't know you had to like pump up their food. Ew, rodent gushers? That's disgusting. Ew, that's so gross. I hate that. Oh wow, I hate that. That's disgusting. Yeah, I get it, but like gusher?
Dude. It becomes a big physiological effect on that animal, and it has to go through a big change. There's fats and all these different things that start going into the bloodstream. The heart enlarges. They go through this big process. Their body temperature, their core temperature, average mean temperature actually goes up as they're digesting this animal. So making sure that that animal is properly hydrated is critical. If I were to take this animal, feed it a large meal, and dehydrate it. As the animal is metabolizing everything, it's drawing out the nutrients, but it still needs to get it out of its gut system. And these animals don't move a lot, so a lot of times what they don't do is they don't just defecate regularly, and sometimes things will sit inside them. And if I dehydrate the animal, the bolus item or the contents in his GI system will actually start pulling, or they want to, they need moisture for that to go through the tract of the system and eventually for that animal to pass it. So if I dehydrate the animal, that material actually can just start to harden up and locate in the system and become a problem for the animal to pass. And what happens is basically it almost adheres to the GI tract, and once that happens, the animal can tox out. So if I have all this organic material inside an animal like this, that stuff will actually poison the animal. So you want to make sure these guys are hydrated. So one good rule you can do is periodically, once a week, you can take an animal like this, remove it from its enclosure, put it into a very, very shallow soak. And a shallow soak would mean the water would be room temperature. So something like this, I'd probably say like 82, 84 degrees. Bring that water level up about a third of the body and let that animal soak for 15, 20 minutes, even a half hour. Get a good drink, put it back in the cage. And if you're really diligent, you only
you can soak your snake. You can soak your snake instead. You probably could fill the snake with water, but at risk of your hands. So do you want to try that? What do you mean, wow? You can soak your snake. What's the problem? I didn't say anything wrong. I really didn't. He's gonna say something. No, not the Mormons. Okay, never mind.
Have to keep a little small water dish in the cage, and then when you're keeping things like bittus, so rhino vipers and puff adders and gaboons and stuff. Some keepers actually remove them from the cage, and this is like a weekly thing that they'll do, and that way we're getting big drinks. But as tough of an animal it is, they require a little bit of technique and a little bit of know-how because in some ways their husbandry is a bit fragile, and you have to be really aware of these things. Do not just decide because there's a water dish in the cage that the animal's absolutely just going to view that as a water dish. Things like chameleons and stuff like that, they don't understand what a water dish is. So we have to use our brains and then adjust our husbandry to be successful with things like this. But once again, this is not a good pet species. It's only designed to be kept by qualified experts that use tools and respect an animal like this. They're incredibly fast and they're very, very misleading. And I'm very comfortable with an animal like this, but it's not a comfort where I'm gonna like overstep and just start petting it, even though I could pick this animal up and do remarkable things with it, to get YouTube hits or whatever. I would be misrepresenting the danger of the animal and
at least they're responsible.
The validity of what it actually is capable of doing. So I have to just kind of like respect the animal, enjoy the animal, because we're basically doing this to enjoy these animals and be responsible and then project that level of care to other would-be keepers and set a good standard.
As always, like and subscribe. Hope to see you real soon.
I almost forgot that was his channel, and something about his panicked face. Okay, I was told he was afraid, but like he just, is this how he always looks? Because he looks so scared and it's messing me up. Oh no, this fear in his eyes. I don't know why it shouldn't be amusing to me. I'm sorry if that's offensive, but it is. He's much calmer with other animals. Okay. This is my first time ever seeing this guy. That's fun. I guess we could. Oh, is there more? Oh, there's stuff after his. Okay, Patreon.
This is one of Clint's must play with animals, and we're gonna let Clint play with this, and then a female that we produced here at Nerd. So hopefully you enjoy.
You brought that closer to you.
So I'm not gonna do anything I don't feel comfortable with, but honestly, a lot of it is I have a lot of confidence in Timmy. Am I in?
You're in. You're just.
Look how calm. I'm just stubborn.
Look how beautiful it is. It's just a big, cute caterpillar.
You're absolutely right, and it's a way better pet than a great white shark.
A big, cute caterpillar.
Handleability,
that's hissing.
care, hardiness. Oh, nerds, I don't even do this hand.
Puffy glands full of venom.
And I don't want to see them contract.
No.
Oh dear. I'm gonna scoot out of here.
I'm gonna slide it forward a little bit.
I've been holding my breath. Yo, Timmy, do you want me to put this on the floor?
Just slide the snake across the table.
I am no.
Isn't it okay though? I can cut it out.
Look at it in full. Look at that.
No, relax.
When it comes to care, we give the Gaboon Viper a score of 3 out of 5.
Clint.
Yo.
Clint.
Yo.
Big snake. That's a huge snake. That sound is so uncomfy. That's one thing I wouldn't want. Of course I wouldn't want it near me. It's so dangerous, but like that would freak me out. Agitated circus balloon. Don't try to turn that into a different shape. Agitated circus long balloon. Yeah, don't try to make that into an animal. Don't touch it. Don't even look at it. I mean, well, do, but from afar. Don't touch it. Don't get it as a pet. I don't know how people are like, yeah, I'll get my kid one of these. What are you talking about? What are you talking about? Literally. That sounds like such a disservice to your child. But that was fun. He had much more fun working with green anacondas and reticulating spleens. Reticulated pythons? Huh. Maybe we'll see. Maybe we might watch him again. I don't mind this. I don't mind getting educated about animals. Do you guys mind? Do you guys like this?